Are you in the market to buy or sell a used classic tractor, say from the 80s or the 90s? Well, if you are, I think there's a couple of things that everybody should be aware of before they go out and spend their hard-earned money. Good evening, everybody, and you're very welcome back to the Agri-Motor Farm Machinery YouTube channel. So just a quick video this evening, just something that's coming to my attention over the last 6 months since I set up this company. So just so people know, just the background of Agri-Motor Farm Machinery and what we do. So if you have a machine for sale, we can go out and we can prep that machine for sale. We can, look it over, we can take pictures and we can advertise it and we can do our best to sell it for you at a reasonable price, or a good price, I should say. Similarly, if you've got something to buy, if you've got your eye on something, maybe it's a private sale or even if it's in a dealer's or whatever, we can go and we can take a look over it for you. We can do an appraisal on it and give you our opinion as to whether it would be a good purchase or not. Given the 28 years of mechanical experience that we have, that's where my background is. It's in mechanics. So it's just something, I suppose, that has come to my attention over the last 6 months since Agri-Motor Farm Machinery was set up, especially around the classic end of things. So I'm talking about tractors maybe from the 80s and the 90s, in around that. So people are all familiar with the 50 series John Deere's, the 300 series Massey's, your 5140 case, and machinery like that, that have really gained cult status now at this stage. Your 11090 Fiats and stuff, fantastic machines. Really, really great machines. But just a couple of incidents that I've come across, I suppose, that I'd like to let everybody know, just to let you know where I'm coming from. These machines they're commanding great money now. They're making great, and if you have one, that's fantastic. They're making great money, and there's a few reasons for that I'll speak about later. But when you have something like that, when you have a commodity that's worth a lot of money, you're going to attract people who want to exploit that. So you're going to attract scam artists, basically. That's all I'm saying. Scam artists and con men. So what I've noticed, just a couple of incidents that I've noticed, there was one 50 series John Deere that I went out to look at. It was actually a bank manager that was looking to buy it. He went out and looked at it himself and loved it and thought it was great and looked well and whatever. And he told me he was going to pay €22,000 in cash for it. So I says, look, it's just hold fire and I'll take a quick look at it for you, whatever. I'll give you my honest professional opinion. So I went out and looked at the tractor, and it was advertised as a high lift 40k or whatever, and I went out, and first impressions was a lovely clean looking tractor, new upholstery inside in it, paintwork was good, got into it, and I quickly realised it wasn't a 40k, didn't have a 40k dash in it. It did have a big set of new tyres in the back and a new set of tyres in the front, oversized tyres in the back. And when I mentioned to the lad that was selling it, he says, oh yeah, but it'll do nearly 40k, it's 38k, whatever, because the tyres make it go that little bit quicker. So it wasn't a 48, because these tractors came from the factory, either 30k or 40k. And this one had a 30k box in it, but it had big wheels in the back that made it go a little bit faster. And I'd say the pump was probably tampered with as well. But that was nothing in compared to what I found after that. So I quickly realised that the four-wheel drive was stuck on, the high-low wasn't working as it should, and the PTO wasn't working. So straight away, you've got a problem inside in your low-pressure hydraulic system from your transmission pump, because they're all linked in that system in there. So that tractor most likely needed to be split, cab would have to come off, pump would have to come out, everything would have to be checked inside, and it could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000 euro later before that tractor would be right. So I went back, told this to the guy that was looking to buy it, who was a bank manager and who should know better with his cash. And he said, sure, look, I wouldn't be using the PTO anyway, and sure, can we just disconnect the four-wheel drive? Like, this is what you're dealing with. I says, absolutely not. He says, you'd be mad in the head to touch this machine at that price. If you got it half that price, would be more than enough to pay for it. So yeah, that was that. And I had a 5140 case then as well that I went out to. Again, a lovely looking tractor. Mechanically, it was perfect, not a thing wrong with it. It was advertised as, it was as advertised. It was a perfect looking tractor, mechanically sound. But the logbook, nothing corresponded on the logbook. The engine number, the serial number, nothing. The number plates were right, but everything was different. So this machine was effectively what it was a ringer. It was what we would call a ringer if it was a car. So basically, he probably might have had a scrap machine at some stage, bought this other one with no tax book on it, and just swapped the plates over. Just so everybody knows, that is a criminal offence, and it's punishable by a prison sentence or a very, very large fine. Certainly in the UK, if you were caught doing that, you would be, in a lot of trouble. People think they'll get away with it because, look, I'm not going to be on the road too much, or, I'm just going to be in the field, I'm going to be doing a few tractor runs with it maybe, or whatever, and it'll be grand. Well, it won't be grand, because if you're in an accident, if something happens, you're liable. When somebody goes looking into that and find out it's a ringer, if you go and try to sell that machine on again, you're committing an offence, so you'll be stuck with it. But it's not hard to get the original tax book of that. If you go, there are groups out there that will go and help you find the original tax book, will sort that out for you. It is possible. So even to ring these machines it's a waste of time. You just have to do a little bit of work, and you will get the original once you can provide proof of ownership. On the flip side then, I had a guy who was selling a machine. So this guy had a Massey Ferguson 175 and it lost drive all of a sudden. He was doing a bit of work with it one day. It was a clean enough machine, but it lost drive all of a sudden. Everything worked, still worked, the engines was fine, the clutch felt fine, the hydraulics were fine, but there was no drive to the back wheels. So he just parked it in a corner and just forgot about it, and he decided that he'd advertise for sale because he didn't really need it and he had a lot of other machines. So he advertised it for sale, and of course he had plenty of time wasters come and went. And this trader came to look at him. This trader was very interested in it. This guy knew what he was buying. He buys and sells regularly. He doesn't have a garage, but he is a trader. So I don't know, is he working out his farm at home or something? And he offered him $2,000 for it. So luckily enough, the farmer, wasn't happy with that. So he was talking to me one day and I said, look, anyone who knows anything about these 100 series, if they lose drive like that, it's a split pin and it's a half an hour's work to fix it. So in the back of the gearbox, there's two shafts that join together, there's a coupler that links them, and there's a split pin that holds the coupler in place. And what happens with 100 series is the split pin becomes loose or breaks, the coupler slides off, and you lose power you lose drive to the back wheels. So yeah, that's what happened in this case. So I told him, he went off. His son looked at it, and his son actually fixed it. Took him about an hour, put the split pin in, and away he went. And he actually subsequently went on and sold the tractor for, I think it was $6,500 or $7,000 or something. So sellers can get caught out as well. You can get caught out by con men and scam artists who just want to make a quick buck. So why are these machines commanding so much money? What's the reasoning behind it? Well, my take on it, there's a couple of different reasons, right? There is a demand out there for them because of the price of other machines further down the line, newer machines that are 60, 70, 80,000 euro, new machines are over 100 grand. So a lad is doing a little bit of work around his yard at home. Maybe he's just got a bit of stock. He just wants something that's reliable, something that if it breaks, he can fix it himself or he can service himself. He doesn't want that with all the bells and whistles. He just wants something simple, that's reliable, that to start in the morning, and that he can just get in and drive, or that anyone can get in and drive. So there is a demand for them from farmers that want to work them. There's also then a demand from collectors. So there is an emotional attachment to a lot of these tractors. So guys in their 40s and 50s that would have grown up in the 80s and 90s have an emotional attachment because they grew up sitting beside their father in these tractors, and they might have learned to drive on them, and they always said when they were a child, when I get older I'm going to have one of these myself. And now he's 45 or he's 50 and he's a few quid in his pocket, and the kids have flown the nest, and now he's a few quid to borrow. He'll go off and he'll buy himself a Massey 399 or a Fendt 11090 or whatever that he had when he was younger. And this is a psychological thing. People do it with cars as well, or boats or something. They will buy them to give them the feeling that they had when they were a child. So they're obviously happier when they were a child. They want to go and buy this machine, and they want the feeling that they had when they were a child. So there is a psychological thing going on there, and this is well proven fact. It's not a load of crap that I'm coming out with here. It's a proven fact. People buy these machines to make themselves feel like they felt when they were a child. They want to be transported back into their childhood. So they go off and they buy them, and after a couple of weeks they realise, oh, there's a knock out the front, and there's a wobble in the front wheel, and there's water coming through the roof, and the hydraulics don't work properly, and it rattles underneath, and they're 35 years old now. Some of them are 40 years old. They're not the same machine they were when they were brand new, when they were nice and tight when they came out of the dealership, and when you're sitting in it with your dad and learning to drive or whatever. They're completely different. They're old. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of very, very well kept, very well cleaned and very well restored machines out there doing great work from great companies. Especially in the UK, there's some companies that specialise in restoring some of these machines, and the work they do in them is fantastic. But they put a huge amount of money into them, a really, really huge amount of money into them. And they advertise them for sale then for maybe 30 grand. I've seen a 36.50 for sale for over 30 grand. But there probably could have been 15 grand or 20 grand put into that machine. Completely stripped down, completely rebuilt, completely repainted. Everything that it needed, it got. And they will command the money and they will get it. But then the lad that has the one that has nothing done to it, he thinks, sure, mine must be worth at least 25 grand, and some people are a little bit delusional, I think, with their prices. There's another factor then as well, and that's the social media factor. So you have some of these big companies that we all know about that go off and buy these machines, they polish them up, and lads are sitting at home looking at the video of these lovely drone shots of these machines flying around, and they look great. Lads are sitting at home then, they're salivating and they want one, and all they want to do is go out and buy one of these to be like so-and-so. And yeah, there's a lot of that as well. Friend of mine bought a 3650 about 10 years ago. So it was the last of them, the 93 model with the wide step digital dash 40k electronic hitch on it, and he paid 9.5 grand for it. That tractor today would easily get 20-25 grand in the condition that it's in and the spec that it is and the actual model that it is. He'd easily get 25 grand for that machine. It has a loader on it now as well. But you could see the rise. There's social media company that bought one, done it up, and even they had a lot of mechanical trouble with the one that they bought. They bought this one thinking it was in good order, but the tractor has been split 3 or 4 times trying to sort out hydraulic problems on it. So if those people with all that money can't get it right, they bought a pig in the poke. It's going to be tough for the normal lad sitting at home who doesn't really know a whole lot about them. So this video, what it's all about is just making people aware, because I have seen people getting caught out. I just want everybody, just do your due diligence. If you're going to buy whatever it is, any of these cult status tractors, that they probably have been around the block now at this stage. Some of them have been restored, some of them have been pulled apart, and some of them there has been excellent work done on them by some companies. So you're looking at, your 50 series, your 300 series, Massey Ferguson's, your 11090s, some of your Fence and stuff like that. So if you are going out to buy one, bring a mechanic. If you don't know much about them, bring a mechanic that knows something about them. Like, I'd be well up on John Deere's, I'd be well up on Massey Ferguson's. Other than that, I'd know the basics. I wouldn't know much about Fence, or I wouldn't know a whole lot about JCBs, or even the Fiats and stuff like that. I wouldn't have done a whole lot of work on them. But there are lads out there who have. There's lads out there who specialise in these machines. So if you're looking to buy one, either go to them and see that they have one, or can they go and look at one for you, because they will know straight away. If you've been sold something that's going to cost you a fortune in the long run. Just look up these people. If anybody wants to get in contact, if you want recommendations, if you want anything looked at, if you've got anything for sale, if you need a little bit of advice, I have got plenty of phone calls already from people that watch the channel, which is great. Ringing up looking for a bit of advice, and I have a list of work there that I have to do for people, and I'm getting through it. I'm getting through it slowly. So thank you very much for everyone that has subscribed, that's watching the channel. And again, if you're going out to buy something, I just don't want to see anybody ripped off. I don't want to see anybody losing money. And if you do have something for sale and maybe there is something wrong with it, either get it fixed or find out exactly what's wrong with it, how much it's going to cost, and factor it into the price when you're selling it, because you'll get no thanks or no reward for selling something that some other poor lad has to put 5 or 10 grand into to get it right. I know it's buyer beware or whatever, but in all consciousness, you couldn't sell something to somebody that is going to fail or has some mechanical defect in it. I'd rather see something mechanically perfect than have a lovely shiny paint work and nice big tires on it. So yeah, that's it for this week. Just a quick video. Drop us something down in the comments if you've got any experiences, if you've been shafted, if you've been ripped off, if you've bought something and you've been really lucky with it and you've made money in it. Fantastic. And I will see you all later on in the week. Thanks for watching.